welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. My name is Becky and on this channel we talk about all things books. I thought I'd do this video even though I'm recording it a little late. It is the 10th of August today. This should have gone out a few days earlier, but life happens and I've just been busy. But I thought I would just do a reading wrap up for what I read in July. So if you haven't seen my July TBR video, I'll put that here for you and the link will be down in the comments if you want to hop over and watch that video first. So getting on to the wrap up, I gave myself, I think it was 3 books. I have never given myself an actual set amount of books to read in 1 month, and in all honesty I've never tracked it, so I have no idea how many books I generally read in 1 month. So this was an interesting month for me, and one of the books that was on my TBR that I did finish was Emily Henry's book Funny Story. So I've never read an Emily Henry book before, so this was my first book for me with this author, and I absolutely loved this book. This book actually ended up being a 5-star read for me. If you haven't read this book before, then I won't give you any spoilers, but it's a romantic book. I would probably say it's a rom-com because it is really funny. But yeah, this is definitely like a romance cutesy book. And basically you've got 2 main characters, which is Daphne and Miles, and essentially they are roommates and lots of things happen to them. They've both got exes, and they both sort of tell a bit of a fib to their exes, and one thing leads to another, and along the way it is so funny, but it's also really cute watching these 2 interact and get to know each other. They were just roommates who really didn't know anything about each other when they first moved into this flat together. I believe, see, this was one of the first books I read at the very beginning of the month, so if I'm remembering it correctly, I think the flat was Miles's flat, and Daphne moved in with Miles, and everything kicks off from there. But it is such a brilliant book. It's such a good book. I've actually bought another one of Emily Henry's books because I really enjoyed her writing style in this book. So that is book number 1 that I read and completed in the month of July. So the second book that I picked up in the month of July is this book here, and this book is Summer Fridays. Now this book is by Suzanne Rindell, or Rindell, I'm not sure if how you pronounce that. But yeah, this is the second book that I read last month. This is actually really good. So on my Goodreads, you can see I've rated it 4 stars. Again, this was like a romance book. As you can see, there's a very summery romance vibe going on for July in my reads. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. So in this book, which is Summer Fridays, you have a 20-something-year-old couple who are engaged to be married, and the wedding is coming up quite soon. You've got, I can't remember the guy's name, so I do apologise. I know the girl was called Sawyer. I think that's how you say it. So she works for this publishing company, and she harbours a dream of becoming an actual writer herself. But I don't know if this is strictly just a New York thing, or even if it's a thing, or it could be an American thing. I'm not sure. How many times do I want to say a thing? Oh my god. Anyway, book. So the company that Sawyer works for, this publishing house, every Friday they let the staff go home like at lunchtime or like really early, and these days are called Summer Fridays, and this only happens obviously in the summer months. So Sawyer finds out that her fiance has to go away on like a business trip, and she's also like getting paranoid because he's spending way too much time with another woman that he works alongside. He's getting up at the crack of dawn and suddenly going to the gym. He's working very late hours, and then he goes away on a business trip with the woman. So Sawyer decides to take these summer Fridays, and she meets a guy. And then they start doing this ritual where they meet up every summer Friday, and this guy, who was named Nick, he takes Sawyer to all the places in New York that she hasn't been and that she wants to see. And throughout the book, these two, the relationship really grows. The character development in this book is brilliant. But yeah, this relationship grows and it grows into something, and then all of a sudden it's cut off, and there are some sad elements to the book. I remember it making me weep at one point. But it has a really, really nice ending come the end of the book, and that was really lovely to enjoy. Such a wonderful ending, because there were times in the book when it was quite sad and a little bit depressing, but all in all, it was a really, really good book. Like I say, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Can't remember why I knocked a star off, to be totally honest with you, but I've got 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, so that's what I obviously rated it at the time of finishing it. But yeah, so this is Summer Fridays by Suzanne Rindell, and that is book number 2 that I completed in July. If you watched my TBR video for the month of July, you'll notice that I did have one other physical book on my TBR list to read. That book was It Ends With Us by Helene Coover. Now, I've had to put the book on the screen because I've left the book downstairs and I can't go and get it because my partner Jamie is currently filming for his YouTube channel downstairs at the moment, and I do not want to disturb him while he's doing his voiceovers. But I will be honest, I have not finished this book. In fact, I am only on, I think, chapter 5, if that, somewhere around there. For some strange reason, I'm really struggling to get into the book. Now, as I said in my previous video, I have never read a Colleen Hoover book before, and I am a bit unsure of what to make of this book. Therefore, I've been picking it up, and I've only been reading it for a few minutes, and I'm putting it straight back down. So, I failed to read that book inside the month of July, although I will continue and keep trying and get to the end of the book. But that one was a fail. But I wanted to read 3 books this month. So far, I've shown you 2 books. Now, I failed my 3rd book that was on my TBR, but I did read some other books. Now, let me show you book number 3. So, because I was struggling, like I said, reading It Ends With Us, I picked up a different book. Now, this one I picked up on my Kindle, so I don't have the physical copy. And I am very, very late to the party on this one. And it is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. And oh my God, I loved this book. It was amazing. So for me, I think the reason why I found it so exciting is because the main character in this story, I'm sure you all know what A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is at this point, but the main character in the story is a young girl who is trying to solve a murder that happened 5 years previously in her hometown. And I am such a, I don't know how to call it, I'd say true crime nerd, maybe, is the correct term. From a very young age, I've had a fascination in all things true crime related. And because this book was about a girl trying to solve a real-life true crime, it gripped me. I absolutely ate this book up. In fact, I read it within 2 whole days. This was a really quick read. I could not put it down. I then immediately went and watched the TV show. Now, I must say the TV show was not as good as a book, and they never are. To be honest, TV shows always leave things out. But for this book, I was absolutely amazed. And in fact, just yesterday, we were out in town, me and Jamie, and he had some spare cash, and he said, go to the bookshop and pick any book you want. So I actually picked up the 2nd book in this series, because I have learned that there is 3 books in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, and then there is a 4th like prequel short story that comes prior to the events of this first book. So I picked up the 2nd book. Now the 2nd book is called Good Girls Bad Blood. I believe that's what it's called. I haven't started it yet. I only just got it yesterday, but it is very high up on my list of books that I'll be reading very soon. But yes, so book number 3 that was read and completed is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Oh my God, guys, can you believe this? It has been 10 days since I filmed that last clip. 10 days. I was at a point where I was thinking to just sack off this whole video. It's been too long. It was supposed to go out at the beginning of the month. Now it's nearly the end of the month, is not far away. But I decided that I filmed so much previously that I might as well just try and finish the video and see if I can push it out to you guys. Coming late is better than coming not at all. So why is it taking me 10 days, guys? Really? It is a combination of not feeling fantastic and not wanting to film versus the fact that I've also been very, very busy. For those of you who don't know, I am getting married in a month, and we have had to start doing our hardcore last minute preps for the wedding. That means I've been going to my dad's to have, he likes to be organised and he wants to get times of everything that's happening on the day all wrote down. He's going as far as making a spreadsheet, putting it on his computer and making sure everybody knows where they are and what they're doing on the day, which is fantastic. And I love my dad to bits, so it's brilliant that he is putting in so much effort to make the day run smoothly. I've also met up with my mum. We have had wedding dress fittings. Now, for me, that's not so fun. I am not one of these girls who dreamt of my wedding day. I don't even like dresses, I don't wear them. So having the wedding dress fitting was a little uncomfortable for me, but it's what it is. I've got to do it. I've promised I'll wear a dress and it's for one day. It's not going to kill me. So yeah, I've been really, really, really busy. And on top of the pre-wedding preparations, making sure like the flowers are done, the bridesmaids are sorted, everything like that. On top of all of that, I've had, this will be a video on my pet channel, but I've also lost a guinea pig. She hasn't died, but I had 2 girls who had a huge fight and they had to be separated. I was unable to house the 2 of them in separate cages, so I had to have one of the girls rehomed. So that was sad and I miss her, but my other girl is fine, and now that she isn't being picked on and bullied by her sister, she's now thriving and doing so much better. So here we are 10 days later, attempting to finish the video. And the video I had so far filmed was talking about the 3 books that I had on my TBR. So I talked about them, and I also told you that I read other books. Because it was over a month ago now, it felt like a lifetime ago. I have had to get my iPad and I'm going to have to pull up my Goodreads account and I will go through the other books that I read last month. So I've just checked the old footage and the last book I showed you was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. After I finished A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I loved that book, by the way, the next book that I actually read was this one. It was The Resistance Sisters by Anna Stewart. Now, last year I found Anna Stewart on Kindle Unlimited and I read all the books that were available at the time on Kindle Unlimited, and then I had to wait for this one to come out. This one finally came out and I loved it. As you can see on my Goodreads, I rated it 5 stars, and I'm just going to read out what I wrote for the review. So the review of this book was both devastating and heartwarming. The tragedy of the story as a whole had me in tears on more than one occasion, yet the love that was found and felt was just amazing to read. Another Anne Stewart book getting a 5-star review. Highly recommend this book to anyone who's got an interest in the war. and that is what I said on Goodreads. So if you don't know the author Anna Stewart, she writes historical fiction. So a lot of her books are based on facts, but she creates a story around the facts, and they're all based around World War II. The very first book that I ever read of hers was The Midwife in Auschwitz, which was absolutely fantastic, and that followed on with The Midwife in Berlin, which was their story after they got out of Auschwitz. And the whole series of the war books are fantastic. There was a whole of the series, I think it's the Bletchley Park Girls or something. Again, they were stories about the women in Great Britain who code broke the foreign codes in the war to find out what was going on. Basically, they helped plan like D-Day and stuff like that. They're just such interesting stories. And this one, The Resistance Sisters, is her latest book, and it was amazing. It was about the uprise in, I think it was in Warsaw, I think. But yeah, it was about the uprising when it basically was centred, I don't want to give spoilers, but it was centred around a Pacific family, a group of sisters and a brother, the mother, the grandmother, and it was basically about their survival, their part in the uprising. It was such a fantastic story, and like I say in my Goodreads review, I did cry. There was a few parts that were really, really upsetting, but outside of all the horrors and all the war and all the fighting and everything, there was a beautiful, beautiful love story written within the book, which was heartwarming and amazing. And it just makes you realise that people really went through it in the war. People had such horrendous times. Even in the, I mean, this book was the aftermath of the war. It was like the back end of the war. They were waiting to be liberated. You know, other countries had already been liberated. So yeah, it was just such a wonderful book to read. And I believe that makes this book number 4 that I read in July. So the next book on the list, I decided to go down, I was feeling a bit like I'd read all the romance stories at the beginning of the month. I'd read this war story, which was really, it was a very heartbreaking story, and I just wanted something light, something funny. And again, I think it was last year, possibly the year before that. I don't even know where I got it from. It was either I found a book in a charity shop or it came in my mum's stack. When my mum decides to get rid of books, she bags them all up and gives them to me, and I keep the ones I like, and I give the remaining books to charity or to Goodwill if you're American. So yeah, this book appeared in either my mum's pile or a charity pile, and it was Why Mummy Drinks is the title, and it's by an author. Now, I don't know if it's pronounced Gill or Gill. I think it's Gill. I'm really sorry if I am saying it wrong. It's just how I've said it in my head this whole time. But it's by an author called Gill Sims, and she has a whole series of books. So there's the current books that are out is, I've just got the list here, so I'll just read the list. The current list is Why Mummy Drinks, Why Mummy Swears, Why Mummy Doesn't Give a Why Mummy Gets Sloshed, The Saturday Night Salvion Sisterhood, Why Mummy Drinks at Christmas, Why Mummy Drinks on Holiday. I picked up another book of hers, and the book that I picked up was Why Mummy Doesn't, and the book is hilarious. If you haven't read of one of her books, seriously do so. They are hilarious. So again, sorry, I forgot to show you again. It's rated 5 stars. Absolutely love her books. And the review that I gave this book was lol. As usual, these books make me laugh out loud. Cannot wait for the next one. Thanks again for the laughs. So like I said, these books are so funny. So like I say, if you've never read one of these books, they are written in diary style. So just put that on there for a minute. So yeah, they're written like in a diary style, so it'll tell you the titles of the chapters are not like chapter 1, chapter 2. It's basically like the 25th of December is. So it is purely written in a diary style, and you're following a family. They've got 2 kids, and you've got the mum and the dad. Like I said, I don't want to give spoilers, but the mum and the dad go through all sorts of things, and it's basically the mum's way of coping with hectic, busy lifestyle, and she just writes it all down in the diary, and we're following her life through the diary entries throughout every single book. I believe is like this. I've read 3 or 4 of them, and they're all the same, so I assume that every book is diary formatted. So if you like a really good laugh based around sort of like family dynamics, a mum who's been very, very honest about the hardships of parenting and stuff like that, go for these books. They are so, so funny. And what I will say though is, if you don't like swearing in books, these are not for you. The mum is a very, very sweary, and to me, I don't mind swearing in books, especially not when it's done in this sort of way, and it's just so funny and fantastically written. But yeah, if you don't like swearing, do not pick up these books, because it is full of language, but in a funny way. It's never like negative or bad, you know what I mean? It's like, too many people tell everyone, you know, like, oh, you know, make the most of your kids when they're little, it doesn't last forever. And then we have a mum who's writing honest things like, my kids drive me crazy, they're little they're not listening to me, and basically just, you know, living the life through a mum who's been deadly honest about the really hard work that kids are. And in the first few books, her kids are only little kids, and as you follow the books through, I've got to the point where now her kids are teenagers, so she's now talking about the horrors of teenagers and the things that come along with having teenage children. So yeah, that was the 5th book that I read. So yeah, like I say, that was the 5th book, and that was Why Mummy Doesn't Give a Then I picked up her next book, which is Why Mummy Gets Sloshed. And as you can see, as usual, her books go down as 5-star reads every time. Why Mummy Gets Sloshed is utterly hilarious. So this one's based around Christmas. It's based around going away at Christmas time, dealing with the family dramas at Christmas time. It's, again, just like I said before, all round hilarious, absolutely hilarious book. Like I say, if you don't like swearing, please, you're being warned, do not come at me if you pick this book up and you're offended by foul language, because you will be, it'll be thrown at you. You will have foul language all over the shop, but it is so funny. And if you're like me and you don't mind swearing, you're not, you know, like upset about it, you know, they are worth a read. So yeah, that was book number 6. And the last book that I picked up is a book that I had actually had on Kindle for quite a while. I downloaded it, then I started it, and then I just left it. I probably got distracted by other books. But yeah, the book that I picked was this book. It's called Bad Things, and it's by an author called, I'm probably going to butcher this, but it is by an author called Katie Anslinger, I believe. Please, I'm really sorry if I got that wrong. I'm not great at pronouncing names. I really, really suck at it. But yeah, it's called Bad Things, and I picked this book up. Like I say, I had it on my Kindle. I think it was a Kindle recommendation based on books that I'd read. I think that's how I came across the book in the first place. But on my Kindle, especially on my Kindle, I read a lot of like crime books, so like thrillers, crime, mystery, stuff like that. So this would have probably been a suggestion, because I had not heard of this author, and her writing was really good. But basically, from the description of the book here, it actually tells me that this was book 6, in a series. So I'm probably going to have to go back and read the rest of the books now, but I did enjoy this book. So basically, you've got a police officer I think she was a detective. Like I say, it's been a while. I think she was a detective, but she had this really rare, I'll call it an ability. They didn't like to refer to it as a gift. She says in the book she doesn't think it's a gift. But basically, when she looks into someone's eyes, into a criminal's eyes, she gets like flashes in her mind of the crime that person committed. And then she then sets out to try and figure out what the crime was, how they committed it, and then get these people brought to justice. Basically get them in. So yeah, it was sort of like a weird element to the way she was she was often solving cold cases. Or in this book, she bumps into someone in the town where she lives. She's on maternity leave, she's had a young baby, and she just bumps into this guy in town, and she gets all these flashes. And she basically tries to piece everything together to work out what the flashes are, what this guy did. But from the flashes, she knew that this guy had killed someone. So the whole book is her following the trail, trying to put all the clues together to work out who he killed, where it was, why he killed them, and try and bring this person to justice. Now, this one was really difficult, a difficult case for her to solve, because it turns out that the murder that she was getting these visions and flashes of actually happened back in the 70s, and the guy was really old. And he'd got away with this crime all his life until Grace, I think that was her name, Grace was able to see these visions when she met with him. And yeah, she's just piecing the clues together. And it's a really good book. And she meets like interesting people along the way. They go on holiday, which is sort of like working around her solving the clues to this crime. So I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was really fun. Now that I know, I didn't even read that part, to be honest. Now I know it's part of a series, I'll actually probably go and look for the rest of them, because I did enjoy the book. And like I say, I do like crime mystery type books. So yeah, so that was, I think, book number 7. We read, what did we read? We read Summer Fridays, Funny Story, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, The Resistance Sisters, Why Mummy Doesn't Give a Shit, Why Mummy is Sloshed, and Bad Things. That is 7 books. 7 books, guys. I read 7 books in 1 month. I'm actually really proud of that. I did fail, like I said in an earlier clip, I did fail to read a book that I'd specifically put on my TBR. I'm still failing to read the book. I'm now on chapter 11. I have kept going with the book, but it's going really slowly and I'm getting distracted by other books. I don't know if that's a me thing or if it's I don't know, to be honest. I know a few other people on Facebook have mentioned it before, but I have multiple books on the go. No, I do not get distracted or forget the plots to the books. For some reason, I can always remember what's going on in each book and pick them back up whenever I feel like it. At the moment, I've got a book on NetGalley that I'm reading, which is an ARC. I'm currently still reading It Ends With Us in a physical, and I'm reading another Emily Henry book on my Kindle called Beach Reads. So at the moment, I have like 3 books on the go all at once. Let me know if any of you do that. Do you have different books? Like, do you read a physical book and have a book on your Kindle, or are you just a 1 book all the way until you're finished? I'd really love to know if anyone else is like me and chops between the different books that they're reading. But yeah, sorry that this video is so late getting out to you guys. I didn't want to sack off the recording that I'd done previously, so I just thought it's better late than never. I'm literally now going to edit this video right now and get this video uploaded onto YouTube in the next 24 hours. But like I say, we've got a whole lot of stuff to get on with. We've very busy lifestyle at the moment, prepping for the wedding next month. But yeah, that'll be it from today's video. And that is it. That is my wrap up. So I gave myself a TBR of 3 books, not knowing how many books I did read in a month, and I smashed my goal, guys. I smashed it. Not only did I read 3 books, I actually read 7 books. So if you want to see me do another TBR series after this, let me know in the comments, guys, and I'll be really happy to do another one. I've got some videos planned and a few videos coming up for the channel. With that being said, don't forget to like the video, and please guys subscribe to the channel to really help us grow. Really would appreciate it if you can hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in another video very soon. Thanks for watching guys. Bye.